Welcome to our next episode of Women to Watch in Sales Tax. I'm Diane Yetter, and I am the founder of the Sales Tax Institute. And today I'm thrilled to introduce you to Stefi George, who is a tax partner at Akerman in New York. Welcome, Stefi.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
So Stefi, why don't you tell everybody what Akerman does and then what your role as a tax partner there is?
Sure. So Akerman is a full service national law firm, offices all over the country. We have a very large and diverse tax group with many different subspecialties, one of which is SALT. We have a very strong state and local tax group, and that's predominantly where I sit. I do mostly tax controversy. I focus on cases of first impression and novel tax issues where the law is, unclear or unsettled. Basically I like to live in the gray, which is sales tax in a nutshell, I'd say. So
That is true. That's a great way to put it. Great way to put it. So Stefi, in your career, is there something that you've accomplished in the sales tax area that you're especially proud of?
I mean, I would say the more uphill the battle, the more proud I am of the ultimate result. I tend to work on cases where the law is undeveloped or underdeveloped. And so I would say I'm most proud of the cases where I'm able to negotiate a creative solution, think outside the box and explore alternative ways of resolving a sales tax dispute. I think there's so much of sales tax that, the law has changed over the last couple of years, especially, and there's so much uncertainty that often there is a way to resolve a case that does not involve just, talking it out and finding a number. And I love those cases. I love being able to find a solution that is not your typical solution, and that maybe, if there's an opportunity to change a law or improve a law or clarify a law, that obviously is the most impactful.
Oh, that's great. So when you say tax controversy, it doesn't always mean you take it to court, right? So it could
That's
be
right.
a dispute. And so what you're talking about are some of these settlements could be coming to a settlement in an informal post-assessment type of situation. So everything that you touch doesn't necessarily go to court.
That's right. And usually going to court is not my goal. Sometimes it's inevitable if it's an issue that is just not going to settle. But and most of my clients, don't want to go to court. They don't want to go the distance on an issue. Some do. But I think being able to settle an issue, being able to resolve something, can have actually lasting impact on both the taxpayer and other taxpayers. I always look at settlement as not just the first step, but the, continuing to look at that as you go through the steps of litigation to see if you can keep the case out of a judge's hands and save those resources.
That's a great way to look at it. So as a partner in a large law firm, do you have advice to other women working in sales tax, maybe that have a law degrees and are trying to think about where to practice and going to a large law firm like yours?
Yeah, I mean, I would say one thing that is somewhat unique about sales tax and really state and local tax generally, is that even though I'm in litigation and I'm often I'm dealing with courts and judges, it's much more collaborative than combative a lot of the time, most of the time. And so I think relationship building goes a long way. I think that, especially for women, to be able to build relationships, not just with, people in your firm, but people in other firms, people like you, Diane, because there's so much uncertainty in the industry that to be able to ask for, other people to weigh in. Have you seen this? Do you have a case in this area? Can help. And then building relationships with the departments and, build with, their adversaries, but it doesn't have to be adversarial or, combative. As I said, I think you can really work together to find a resolution in a lot of ways.
That's great advice, Steffi. And, we've had a lot of women talk about the networking and the relationships and how important that is. But I really like your perspective on just because they're at the Department of Revenue doesn't mean they're your enemy. And you do have to have those cordial, if not friendly, relationships, because it's going to make what you do all that much more successful.
That's right. And mutual respect is important, right?
Mhm.
But I think being able to respect the people on the other side helps, um, if you have a difficult case, helps you reach a resolution because you respect each other and you respect each other's positions, even if you don't think the other side is correct.
Right, right. That's great advice, Steffi. Thank you so much for sharing your experience with our audience, and I really appreciate it and look forward to collaborating with you. Thanks, everybody.